Hello everybody, Halloween is a day on October 31st, but did you know that it is also a cologne? Now, in this video, we're going to be going over all 6 of the, at least unisex to masculine Halloweens. I think one of the best designers of all time, certainly currently, and so we're going to get into that, but I'm sure a lot of people are like, Halloween is a fragrance. Yes it is. You probably thought this was a best cologne for Halloween this season, and because of that, I went ahead and set out some fragrances. And so after we get done talking about the best Halloween designer fragrance, we're going to talk about the best Halloween seasonal fragrances and give you kind of a 2-for-1. So let's get into it. Number 1, we're just going to start right from the basics. In 2012, the Halloween line was launched by a designer called Jesus del Bozo. It's Bozo, I believe it's Bozo, Jesus del Bozo, and miracles happened. So, this is the first one. This is Halloween Man, and Halloween Man is supposed to be purple, but it doesn't really look purple. As you can see, it's kind of like really, really dark. Yeah, it's like purple in the right light, but this is 2012, launched this guy, and some people say that it is a carbon copy of Paco Rabanne's 1 Million. Those people are wrong. Some people say that it is a copy of Cuba's Royal. Those people are wrong. This is Magnificence. Grab a tester strip. So, the top notes is one of the only times I've ever seen this. The top note, oh my gosh, so good, is martini, and the bottom note is leather. And the journey from martini to leather is like, what in the world? So right off the bat, you're getting this huge hit of fruity notes. I remember the first time I ever tried Halloween, I was like, what kind of a name is Halloween? I was like, is it like Halloween? Is it pumpkin pie? Like, what is it? No, that's nothing to do with spiciness. Like Spice Bomb, I think, is a better Halloween fragrance. Like, nothing to do with it. It's just the name. So right off the bat, martini, lemon, fresh, fruity, and as it sits, it keeps a lot of the playfulness, but it calms down into being musky suede leather, something substantial and complex. Now, the amazing thing about this is that it hits like a $150 designer fragrance. It hits like, he's saying it all myself, like it hits just like a incredibly expensive designer fragrance, and it's $30, in my opinion, is the best value, best bang for your buck, pretty much, that you'll ever get from a fragrance. So we're gonna go and rank these when I get done talking about them, but just incredible. So fast forward to pretty much every 2 years, Halloween released a different variation, and 2014 saw this guy, Halloween Man, shot. Right? No, excuse me. I'm getting ahead of myself. Halloween Man, Rock On. 2014, Halloween Man, Rock On, Shot's the next one. This is a red bottle. You can see, unlike the purple one, like, it's vibrant red, you can tell. And this one is playful. Halloween Man is playful and sugary and sweet and energetic, but this one takes it to another level. Halloween Man is a 4 Seasons fragrance, and this is more of a spring, summer, pep in your step kind of fragrance. Atomizers are top notch, and you'll see every single one of these fragrances shares the exact same bottle, just different variations. So yeah, right off the bat, you're getting much more of that fruit. You get almost like a candy kind of fruitiness to it. Very energetic, very invigorated. Beautiful, beautiful. But whereas Halloween Man really has a lot of complexity, especially when it gets into the mids and the bass, this one doesn't that much. It's mostly candy, sweetness, fruitiness, energetic, in your face. This is a daytime fragrance, a gym fragrance, a spring and summer fragrance. This is not a date night fragrance or an evening fragrance. Yeah, as Halloween sits, it gets more and more complex. And as Rock On sits, it stays pretty much the same. So, it's still very good though. Fast forward 2 years to 2016, and we have Halloween Shot. Now I can say Shot. This one, I think, has the absolute coolest bottle. It's got this kind of like two-tone look to the glass where it has this gradient and a gold cap. You can see it's just plastic, and the bottle is glass. But as far as like aesthetics, I think it's really nice. So 2016 Halloween wanted to release, or Jesus wanted to release, another fragrance, and to kind of counter it, wanted to make something a little bit more formal. Oh man, and that's what you're getting. You're getting hit right in the face with pretty much the first time that you're going to see some woodsy notes. Something that's a little bit more masculine, something that reminds you of nature, of soil, of earthy tones. And because of that, it has a little bit more of a body wash kind of feeling, but definitely not like cedar and bergamot kind of body wash, like just super clean. This is complex. It's not so rich as to only be able to wear it at night. I think this is still an all-day fragrance. But it has sort of a luxurious kind of smell to it. Halloween Man being much more 50-50. I'll meet you in the middle. I want to be taken seriously, but I also want to play. Rock On is just playtime, and this is, much more serious and much more masculine. The fruitiness and the sugary sweetness, you just don't really have it. So, okay. Now, I guess they were sleeping up there at the Halloween line because it took them 3 years to get out the next one. But when they did, boy, was it worth the wait. 3 years in 2019, they released this masterpiece, and this is Halloween Man X. This is a bluish gradient bottle with a black cap. They don't make the best noises though, I will say. So, I want to clarify something here. When I am telling you like some of the notes, these fragrances have a lot of notes. You're talking like anywhere from 8 to 15, and so I'm just kind of giving you the general overview, but they do have just a lot of notes. Now, I don't need to spray this because I wear it so often. I know what it's like, but I'm going to do it anyways. The one thing that Halloween, all of the fragrances have in common is oh my gosh, it's so good. The opening note is so strong. It's so powerful. The projection and the performance of this fragrance, all of these fragrances, are just incredible. And I should also state that these were made by different designers. It's not just one guy doing this. It's, He's, I believe, the guy that made Mystery, and I think the original. But also a fragrance designer for, I think, Paco Rabanne and Antonio Banderas. I mean, it's not just some random dude brewing them in his basement. I mean, they get some big names, and I don't know how they still are able to maintain the same level of quality, even with different designers, but they do it. So, Halloween Man X, I believe, is when they hit perfection. Halloween Man X opens up a vivacious and fruity, super energetic, super in your face, kind of soapy and clean and fresh. But it has a mid note and a dry down that is coffee in your face, and it's cut with tonka beans. So a bit of a suave, earthy tones mixed with just, I don't know, it's difficult to say. It definitely leans a little bit more masculine, and if you kind of understand that, you'll know what I'm talking about. So yeah, right when you first get it, it's one of the most deceptive fragrances out there because you do not get coffee at all. You get punched in the face, very similar to Halloween, the original. And you think, oh, this is just another fruity fragrance, and then you get the tonka beans and the coffee notes, and you're like, what the heck? So, incredible fragrance. Fast forward 2 years. Now we're at, we're at 2021, or 2021, and we're coming out with Halloween Hero. Hero is definitely the most decorative bottle. It has a yellow base and kind of a pink to blue gradient. And I think they kind of assumed that it'd been, I guess at this point, 7 years since they made a really fresh, fruity, playful fragrance in Rock On, so they wanted to make something, again, that was really playful. Now, this has Herbapura vibes, as does so many of the other ones, but I think there's a fresh fruit note in here. Red fruit, green fruit. I think there might be it's either a melon. I think it's a melon fruit as well. It just kind of has a very different portrayal of fruitiness. It's not like necessarily the sugary pixie stick kind of vibes. It's more like, but it's not subtle either. It's just sort of in your face with a fresh fruit, almost like a fruit bowl or a fruit medley, as opposed to just non-discernible red notes like Herbapura or green notes. It's not complex at all, but it's fun. It's friendly, and if there is one of these fragrances that I could look at and say, oh, that's a body wash, smells like a body wash, energizes you like a body wash, it's this one. It's Hero. I don't know really where they came up with that name, other than, it just makes you feel energized and you want to go out and you want to do stuff. So that is Halloween Hero. Now jump forward 2 years and we have our final Halloween fragrance, released in 2023, and this is Halloween Man Mystery, all black design. Difficult to tell the difference between this and Halloween Man X when you're looking down on it. And this guy, I don't know what the inspiration was for this. I think they ran out of ideas and said, let's put something together that is just way over the top complex. It's funny because you have serious, playful, like it's back every 2 years. You have complete opposite of the last fragrance. So now mystery notes, mystery fragrances are typically those like, black currant or iris, which I believe I'm already smelling. of notes that they might be familiar, they might not be, but they're not the most commonly used notes in fragrances. So, mystery being like, I like it, but do I like it? Oh, I recognize that, but do I recognize it? Like that kind of thing. And this is no different. Almost like a desserty, boozy kind of opening, and it has this complex floral note. I think of iris and maybe, I don't want to say sage, maybe violet. And then it's still very sweet though. I will say this one, Mystery, performs the worst and projects the worst, and I think it has to do with the fact that it uses subtlety, and the notes themselves are not big and bold and bright, which it really does live up to its name. You spray it and you're like, what is this? Like, you don't know if you're wearing a fragrance, you don't know what's in the fragrance. You're like, why did Halloween make this? Like, it's not bad, but it's like, it's not a attention grabber, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So that is the 6 Halloweens. Now let's rank them. Alright, let's do it. So let's go from worst to best. And when I say worst, I don't mean bad. I just mean someone's gotta be worst. And for me, that worst is gonna be the last guy. It's gonna be Mystery. I just do not think that stacked up to these heavy hitters, that this performs the way that the other ones do. I really don't think that it does, and nothing bad about it. It's a decent fragrance. It's not something that's awful. But sorry, I'm arranging my tester strips here. But it's just not something that is memorable, and to me, that's a disqualifier. So, in second to last place, I am going to give it to Rock On. I think in a similar way, I think Rock On is just forgettable. I think it's fine, it's energetic, it's friendly, but I don't think it has the teeth that they wanted it to, or that they thought it would, and certainly can't compare to the first. Alright, number 3 is, or I guess number 4 is Hero. I think that it's unique with that kind of melon note and different fruits that they incorporated, and that's why I'm giving it number 4 over Rock On. Number 3 is definitely going to be Shot. Not a bad fragrance at all. Complex, but also friendly, and I like it. It's really good. Now, the number 1 and number 2 are very, very difficult, but I am actually going to do an audible because of how I feel at the moment, but I'm going to give number 2 to X. And so strange, because I put this up with one of the greatest fragrances of all time, which I still maintain. But if you're just getting into Halloween, you don't have any of these Halloween fragrances, you gotta go with number 1, which is the original Halloween Man. I think breathtaking and invigorating, and any fragrance that starts with martini and ends with leather and makes all the notes work so well together, that rhymed, has to be number 1. Like, just so good. So it's amazing that all of these, less than $40, each one less than $40. So number 1 is going to be Halloween Man, the original. Awesome. Highly recommend them. They should pay me for as much as I promote them. But I really do love them, and never been paid or given them for free. I just really love them and have no problem promoting a really so highly recommend them. Boom, boom, boom. There is a women's line. I have not tried. I'll be honest, I have not tried. These fragrances are pretty unisex, so I don't know why there's necessarily a need for a women's line, but there is. And I've never tried them, so I can't say anything about that. But there actually was 7 unisex or male fragrances. The other one was Tattoo, and Tattoo was very short-lived, very poorly reviewed, and they don't make it, and you can't find it, and so I don't have it. But they did make 7, but these are the 6 you can get now. Okay, awesome. All right, so that's Halloween, the fragrance. Halloween, the fragrance. Now, let's discuss fragrances that are Halloween. So, what do you think of when you think of Halloween? I think of candy, desserts. I think of aromatics. I think of smoke. I think of mischief. I think of a little bit of that mystery. I think of just a change of seasons, and I pick some fragrances that I think are a pretty good representative of that. Let's just start. Number 1. This is no particular order. Number 1. Kamrah. You have Lattafa's Kamrah, a heavily inspired, not clone, heavily inspired fragrance, heavily inspired by Angel Share. By Killian. In fact, you'll find 2 Killian fragrances in this list. Boozy, vanilla, spicy, smoky, but not like a Ventus smoke, like just subtle, just rich cognac, vanilla base, super boozy, just kind of, you drown in it almost. Unlike Angel Share, Kamrah is around $35. And Angel Share being 200 plus. And Angel Share sucks when it comes time to projection and performance. But this is one of those Halloween fragrances because it is the start to cooler weather. And you can only wear this fragrance in cooler weather. You try to wear this in the summer or the spring, it does not work. So, an incredible fragrance. If you want a clone of Angel Share, go elsewhere. There's better clones. Amber Angel by Alt is probably the best, in my opinion. That is a carbon copy. This is not a carbon copy. This is Lattafa's take on Angel Share, and Angel Share is a lot more subtle, a lot less pungent than Kamrah is. And if you tried both, you know what I mean. Okay. Next. Let's just do the next Killian. It's Spectre Wraith, and Spectre Wraith is a clone of Killian's Black Phantom, and just like, Killian's as a whole, very, very boozy. I sprayed my thumb. Okay. So, this is a weird licorice kind of sweetness mixed with some form of like brandy. Really boozy, maybe like a slight red note in there, but overall super earthy tone, brandy, boozy, spicy fragrance that has very limited uses. But when you're talking about a change of the weather and booziness and spicy aromatics, you gotta go with Black Phantom, or in this case, Spectre Wraith. Okay. Getting away Killian, we have a new addition to my collection, and this is Intense Oud. I could have put By the Fireplace by Replica, but I think this fulfills that spot at a third of the price, so we are going with Intense Oud. Intense Oud opens with this sort of incredible, luxurious sweetness. I think, in my opinion, that By the Fireplace, Replica's By the Fireplace, is indicative of a s'more, I think, is what I get from Replica, and everything that you like about Replica, Intense Oud has, but it diverges just ever so slightly and adds in kind of an earthy tobacco note, and that's what I get from it. I think in reality it's just that oud note coming through that just reminds me so much of that sweetness and that earthy note, earthy tone of tobacco, but you could supplement By the Fireplace as well. I'm going with Intense Oud. Alright, next. And this is Uomo by Salvatore Ferregamo. This is beautiful amber fragrance. This is a super dessert-y fragrance. It is a fragrance that reminds me, at least in its current state, of a Tootsie Roll, is really what it smells like to me. Sort of a chocolatey, the cousin, Uomo Casual Life, is said to resemble tiramisu. I don't know if I get that, but it is a chocolatey fragrance. And when it dries down, it doesn't lose that. It's kind of like booze and Tootsie Rolls. Is kind of the best way that I can say it, and anything that reminds me of chocolate is going to be on the Halloween, because that is the name of the game, right? For the holiday candy. And this is your candy fragrance. It's really good and it's affordable. I think it's $30 to $40. Salvatore Ferregamo's Uomo. And I have one more. This one is totally different, and I did that for a reason. I wanted something totally different, and this could not be more different than the other ones. It is Yellow Dream by Valentino, and this guy is on here for one very specific reason. And you can tell it's not from good craftsmanship. The top literally, that's not supposed to happen. You'd think if you paid $120 for something, you'd have better craftsmanship, but that's not necessarily the case. This is in here for one reason, and it's because the main note is a sweet ginger that reminds me and others that I've reviewed this of kind of a gingerbread house. So I know this is going to be, if I do a Thanksgiving or a Christmas one as well, but it opens up with this super sweet note, and by the time it gets down to drying, that ginger and that gingerbread and that sweetness really comes through, and it does so in a way that lasts and stays thorough. It keeps its base. It doesn't morph that much, which is pleasant, because you have some of these fragrances, you spray it, you like it, and then in 20 minutes it's a totally different fragrance. This doesn't. This keeps its DNA strong. The biggest problem, you cannot wear this any other time than winter, and it does not perform or project the greatest. So, review my top 5 Halloween fragrances. Lattafa Kamrah, wonderful fragrance. Spectre Wraith by French Avenue Industries. distributed by Fragrance World. Another Lattafa and Al Oud, Amir Al Oud, or Intense Oud, as it is translated to. Then you have Uomo by Salvatore Ferregamo and Yellow Dream by Valentino, which is literally, I think, probably the worst name that anyone has ever given to a fragrance. Yellow Dream to me, just straight up, it just sounds like you wet your bed. Like, that is straight up, and that's not something that I want to think about when I'm advertising for fragrances. I don't know why they decided to name it that, but so you got your 6 Halloween fragrances, and you got your 5 fragrances for Halloween. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.